lay it out there, play it out there, play it out there, play it out there, my passion on going and say. We want to be because I think it's just got out today. Oh. And it's all fine. I think that you have a great profile picture. You look like a president.
That was our annual meeting pictures last year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that the marketing specialist we had, she basically stood us all up against a wall. It was so funny because I was like this, she's like, she had put your feet this way, and then turn, and I'm like, so it was like,
Go in there.
I hadn't seen it till like.
Yeah.
Oh, that's Joe.
Hold on 1 second.
Online again?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Online on the piece line. 15 days.
What?
Right?
Yes.
15 days. Good.
Hey, team, I was hoping to lead the meeting, but got called into babysitting duty and I have 2 crying twins at the same time right now, and I'm by myself. So I'm gonna go, I can listen in on mute. Joanne, are you there?
She's not here yet.
Okay, do we have, who else? I see Mark there. Who else is there?
Got the rest of the floor. So you're just missing Alex and Joanna. Yep.
He's on his floor.
Okay, so we got a quorum.
Bob,
right.
Andrew, Jim.
Jim, can you start leading the meeting until I come back?
What's that?
Jim,
Oh,
can
sure.
you
I
lead the
can do
meeting until I come back? Thank you.
that. All right.
Said Alex on the way.
Yes, I remember it was, so that probably. Trying to figure out. Okay, yeah. Not too far away. Janet. Two minutes?
Yeah. Hi, Joanna.
What were your children plans since you weren't going to be on the eager?
I thought it was next Wednesday.
Oh. No, that's the board meeting.
November, December, yes, because the board shifts up a week, it shifts.
Have you been doing that feedback? Or that's really good.
We have to take time to get that in place with the speaker issue. You can turn it down, but then maybe not blind.
Can you start? We don't have to.
Mark, is he in or out? ETA, I want to be here.
Well, I don't know that different. You texted me a while ago. What I said. I just started right before. All right, I'll call the meeting to order. Yeah. We do have quorum. We don't have any minutes to approve because no minutes. So, anyone have any comments about the agenda? I'll make a motion to approve the agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Splash pad update.
I can provide an update if.
Yeah, Jacob, you can if you want, and then I'll chime in.
Yeah, actually, I'll pull a picture of today. So the crew came back on site this week. Last week, the fencing was installed. This week, the installation crew is back installing the pumps as well as all the equipment is in. So this was as of today. We have, from what you can see here, there we go. Slide is in, the 2 water rainfalls above the slide. There's another water rainfall over there and over here. The mushroom. These are those 4 dump buckets that are coming down. We have the 2 water cannons, the fire hydrant, the loop on this side, loop on that side. This is the pump room. You can see the pumps are starting to arrive. Or actually, the filters are arrived. The pumps are arriving later this week. It's mainly pending electrical, which is scheduled for they're going to be on site reviewing the site later this week and then installing the electrical Monday and Tuesday of next week. Once that takes place, we're going to start training and water testing. That's when we'll bring in our pool operator that's on site every day of the week to do training on that. And then we'll start taking down the wall, cleaning up the area. All of those large trees that were causing leaf issues have been removed. And even in this picture, you can see the new spruce trees have gone in on the perimeter of the property. There's some touch-up work that they want to do with the pad itself, but you can see the coatings are down and they've finally pulled off everything on top of the jets, because for months these have been covered under concrete, so they've cleared those up. So it's moving along. Like I said, we'll probably see water testing next week. We will then we had a tentative opening date for December 22nd to fall in line with the holiday break. It's looking like the plans and needed a revision required by the Florida State Health Department. And they're doing those, but it's looking like that's going because of that and others, it's going to be delayed. So we're going to have it ready and it's going to be delivered in December of this year. The opening most likely and unfortunately will be delayed into January, just until we get everything greenlit and approved by the State Department. The county department will not review it on a county level until they see clearance from the state level. So we're going to be not pausing, but at their mercy.
Well, there's a lot of things going on in celebration in December anyway, so pushing it to January, I don't think it's a big deal.
So the question looking at that image is, I'm assuming the gate is from the pool side into it.
Yep.
Yet we have the rules on the far side, not anywhere close to the entrance. Was there?
That's a great note. That is not the current, that's not the new rule signs. The new rule signs are about twice as wide as this. One will be located here on that side of this, and then one is actually right where this picture is taken. So they're viewable from the wet deck, no matter where you stand without an obstruction, because there's 2, and both are visible from the gate.
No, it's no diving.
The new one says no diving as well.
It does. Get a slide.
The things these yes.
Isn't that like health code related?
Yeah, there's a lot, and the font's bigger because the requirements requiring basically everything to be in minimum 2-inch font. What you see here is about 0.8-inch font, so everything's much bigger and
It's great.
so it's moving. Unfortunately, we're not going to get it open as soon as we thought, but at least it's going to be delivered and ready to rock and roll. So.
Good. Any other comments?
Just a question, is that water gonna be heated?
No.
No.
Was that an option?
No. We did ask, we weren't looking into it and they said no. And the main reason you can't is because while the water is all recirculated, with the amount of sprays, it loses that heat so fast that by the time it would return, you would be, it could never keep up with it. We asked because we knew it would be asked, but no.
All right, any other comments?
Yeah, hi,
Who
Joe
are we?
here. Yeah, Joe here. Can you all hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah, so we're excited. Early next week, this will be functional and ready to go, as Jacob mentioned, because of just some issues with our contractor. It's just taking longer to get the final stamps to get basically the certificate of occupancy and the permit, the final permit. But anyway, it's good. Hopefully by the end of this month, I'm still optimistic we'll be able to at least showcase it for board members and committee members. So thank you.
By the end of next week, we expect to put out an e-blast specifically just for this project with photos, some kind of update, some as it's progressed, and hopefully some with it running, and it will say basically we will keep you informed once we've seen final green light from the health department, we will be opening it.
Okay, anything else? All right, let's move on to town hall renovation.
I have some pictures I can pull up too, yeah.
Touch lines.
So I'll start and then I'll pass, to Mark. Share my whole screen.
No more than that. Learn that it's, I'm alone.
A big lift this morning, something. Brings out.
Go. So we got some of the renderings for the marketing brochures just in. So this is kind of a rendering of the boardroom, as you can, and then kind of that back studio area, the large seal is going to be moving into that room. So those were exciting that we finally got these, so we can put the room naming packet and start socializing that for the selling of the room naming rights.
From that first, the marketing one. When we think about our fixture and furnishing budget. Does that reflect what we can afford?
This is inside the packages that the board will most likely be reviewing in their January workshop.
Okay.
The total packages are looking around $210,000 to $260,000 for all furnishing.
Okay.
And that's coming from reserves at this point.
Right. Okay.
That's for all meeting rooms and all
Is that
offices.
through the GC or did we bid it?
That is through our the project
Yep, yep.
manager.
They bid it?
And yeah, they bid it out. We have 3 bids back and there's 2 more pending.
Market's softening a little bit, in a couple of different areas, so bidding is good.
So this is accurate to what's in the bids. We're also looking at as far as the furniture in these.
Attic stock for the fabric. Will we get that?
We can see about that.
Let's make sure, right, because we know
These
some of
guys,
chairs are. Right, we've all sat in board meetings and sitting on a chair that's all torn up.
So 25 years old. But
Yeah.
yeah.
And is the carpet squares,
yes,
attic stock on that too?
not at this moment, but we can.
It should have been stuck somewhere, I'm sure. But it's worth asking a question.
You mean by addicts?
Extra supplies, so if it's damaged in the future, we have it some replacement.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't know if they don't make that anymore, right, then we gotta do the whole thing and it's. Smash.
Besides that, it's moving along. There's some, the main exciting work I'm excited about is they've done a lot more work excavating around the property and pulling off the stucco around the border of the building. So they can put that, I think it's about 14-inch concrete seal around where the slab meets the envelope of the floating walls. So that way, we aren't going to have that issue in the future. I know last month we talked about the drainage system has been properly installed. They're working through a couple of different proposed change orders for a couple items that may be required under code during final inspections. And we're working through those. That's majorly it. Some changes with the back activity room for a board member request about just the ceiling, the lighting and ceiling tiles, as most of that was not in scope or as well as the sound panels. The back room outside of the floor itself was nothing else was in scope. So now they're going to be providing some opportunities to the board to review if they want to, get those walls prepped and painted until we can add or replace the sound panels that were original at a later point after turnover, because we can do that and we can source those in-house and do it cheaper without the overhead of the contractor. And then the ceiling tiles, it's to remove the canister lights that hang down, and then an opportunity to change out the fluorescent 2x4 lights to LED ones that match the rest of the lights that are 2x2. So they're working on those to present to the board. Those are the major items right now, as well as they're looking into more with the electrical panel for the chiller system. May need to be replaced, and it wasn't in the original scope. We're pushing on that, seeing if we can do some repairs instead of replacement. So we're getting different electric companies to look at that, as well as water, hot water for the restrooms, which they did not have hot water. There's some concerns that upon final inspections, due to the amount changed with the property, it may be required.
There
So
was no hot water for the restrooms?
not originally. So they're looking at that. The quote came in. We've been challenging that to get the price down.
Yeah.
No hot water all around, but
Building's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It's it works elsewhere, but it's a little bit more difficult here where the water is potentially a little bit warm and it has unreal texture and stuff in it.
Look for, like something under the counter, like you can get a small.
Yeah, there's like,
There's just a couple of stamps, right? So I don't think that's an expensive fix.
yeah, I mean, that was a recommendation, is to see about the electric installs.
Yeah.
Framing's going up. Framing's almost done, actually. Most of the wiring is in as well. They're gonna be starting drywall installation this month. In the back office. This is the atrium and the new walls for the boardrooms. And in the boardroom, big progress here. The curtain wall that separates the two rooms to make them separate, or one large room. The large steel beam has been installed, as well as the track system. This was a big, I'm going to say a big win. The original location of this beam was going to have to come lower, which was going to lower the ceilings from the original height. Due to some revisions, they were, again, looking at the structural integrity, they were able to tie it to one of the main beams of the building, and which allowed that ceiling to stay at the height that it was intended to be. And then it's a coppered ceiling, so where it raises up in the middle will be higher than it was in the past.
Are they still expecting end of May date?
The DeAngelis Diamond turnover to Croa is still end of April, and then it would be furniture installation. So we're looking at May. Yeah, we're gonna, publicly saying July, but
So
yeah, we're still safe on that. They're on schedule, a couple of days ahead of schedule as far as the DeAngelis Diamond goes.
yeah, I think we've only paid them $165,000 so far, only $21,000 in November. And they're expecting another, well, I'm not sure where their house was attributed, but maybe $300,000 in December.
I think that's about right. I know
Yeah.
Ray asked.
Because when I show you the cash flow forecast, you'll see that, because that means we'll be paying $3 million in the first 5 months of next year.
Does the year matter, Jim? Like if we could pay more this year, does it benefit us at all in paying
No,
next year?
No, it doesn't. It's just the question of how many sales, how much we're gonna have in capital.
Yeah.
By the end of May. But we'll talk about that.
I thought the original projection was we were gonna spend $1.5 million this year and $1.5 million next year, so it shouldn't be anything material. That it's just gonna be backloaded, that's all, so we can't spend outside of the current things that are on the agenda.
Yeah, the pay ups through the end of December, just sent over by DeAngelis Diamond. This month are an additional 391,000.
Yeah.
If they get to the completion of their expectation.
Yeah. Okay, anything else? Anything else, Mark? Any comments?
That's what's kind of.
One other thing is the sidewalk work, so that interior courtyard, the back main entrance, along with all the perimeter belt sidewalk is we're requesting an RFI to do replacement of that, as we're doing lots of sidewalk replacement within Crow right now, and they're up in the reserves. We are looking at doing that in congruence with this project instead of doing it at a later point in time. So they're going to be giving us a quote for what that work would be. That is, while it would come through DeAngelis Diamond, it would also be applied to the reserves, as this is a reserve project, not part of this town hall grant project.
Can you provide some update on the dumpster conversation?
Yes, so the board did discuss that at their last meeting. We did receive a couple of bids back. They were quite high. I think 58,000 was the lowest to build a dumpster, or an additional dumpster bay. They're starting continuing discussions about changing out some of the NEVs to regular gas vehicles as we keep expanding and we can't service all of our villages right now with the NEVs. By doing that, if we were to phase out the inspector NEVs, then the NEV bay, which was originally intended as a dumpster bay, can return to its original intent as a dumpster bay, thus mitigating the need to build a
If
dumpster
it's not
bay.
a net, it's something else, right? If it's not a net, then it's something else.
Yeah, they're looking at they're looking at gas powered vehicles
But you're still, you're gonna have to park that somewhere.
in a parking spot,
But it wouldn't be inside the dumpster.
but it doesn't need to go inside the dumpster bay, which is right now set up as a charging bay.
And changing the cost of the dumpster versus vehicles.
Glad they came around, which I think that's probably where last time, as far as the dumpster bay is for the dumpster, not for other projects, so that makes sense of no need to throw additional money on something that you can repurpose what something's for.
Yep.
Okay, good.
Do we move on to the multi-purpose courts update?
That one I will review what I got, so I don't really want to talk about it yet, because I haven't reviewed it. We'll probably have to work on what you think a true budget number is once I get a chance to review it, on it, what I think.
Okay,
So
you didn't even look at the numbers?
I didn't have a chance, I got it off 5, and then it's in my
Okay.
car, so I can't prove it on my phone. They gave me a range, it's, people say in today's world, things cost more. But I haven't looked at it to analyze which parts of it are more. I will, and then let you guys.
How far are we on the final drawings?
They're at a holding point waiting for this, so my plan was to do this tonight, I guess, and then contact KPP to get them together with the folks that are looking at numbers to see how we can squish it. It will need value engineering period, so we just need to,
It will need what?
I need to understand which parts are.
Oh, it'll need value engineering.
Yeah, yeah, in other words, we need to cut back on stuff, we need to look at what the numbers were for all that to understand. That needs to adjust, so do that.
You know, if we paid them $177,000.
For the, it shouldn't be that, like, 60.
It's whatever they're up to date to the point, so I imagine they would have a. They should be only paid up to whatever point they're at. So I know they have not earned their entire fee, if that's what you're asking.
Was there a deadline associated with that? They trying to get it in by the end of the year, or no, it's just something that was always going for next year?
Honestly, it could be your way. I want to make sure I have these numbers first, otherwise there's no point. So there's some rework to see what we can do. But they're ridiculously fast, so they're just waiting on us to make a decision.
There are timelines tied to the contract, but it's not tied to the end of this year.
Thanks,
There's nothing.
I would think this project.
Just one comment, I've talked to some people about it, but on the courts, the width of the courts. Right now, I think they're figured still at 30 feet. 20 feet court and 5 foot clearance on each side. I think that's the current, so 30 foot. The industry standards.
Yeah,
are
listen,
30
at this
foot.
time, we're not going to talk about the details of the plans right now. Okay, so we're going to move on. We still have work to do, a significant amount of work to do in terms of understanding the full scope, the size of the project, and changing My guess is when we get the final rough order of magnitude price, we're gonna have to maybe potentially descope some things out of this project to get it to, something more in line with what we had originally forecasted. So let's not get into the discussion as to sizes and setbacks until we progress a little bit further. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I'd relate your.
I just wanted to create an awareness.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I thought we got that, but yeah, I'd relate that. His comments, correct, that's we're gonna have to do a group look at it. I will say it's gonna be over that number, period. Potentially from that, that was a shot in the dark. But we need to cap what we think we should or could spend on it. This is probably gonna be a little bit of both ways. What do you think? Percent, at least it's pickleball plus basketball. Sure, multi-use.
As far as payups for them, 26,000 has been paid. New invoice has been submitted for an additional 20,000.
That's percent, right?
That's all we'll be paying out to the end of the year.
Yeah, it's like, they stopped working on it, waiting on the separate, so they don't bother drawing it. It's new to draw. But it's very complete set, so information there is very good. So there's the process of looking at it. Yeah, but make some decisions pretty quickly. Which I will share, we spend the old time now.
So what do we need to do as a committee?
Like, don't look at it, and then I'll suggest it. I think what I have to understand is where the numbers really are at, which comes best in line, and then the repetition, how we should correct it. But I don't have anything there.
Okay.
Numbers. I would say, yeah, there's what we can, but keep some of the other elements as well. So there's all built-in value share out.
But I think on the process, right, it's the pickleball courts and the basketball court are priority. Everything else is secondary. So as we progress, that should be the process of, yeah, we're going to base, but then what additional amenities can we put around it?
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of what was my comment of what do we really want to spend on it? There'll be a little extra stuff there for now.
But isn't it supposed to be multi-sport?
No, it is.
It is.
Yeah. Yes, but that's not what's costing really. It's more just sports. There's
Right.
the ability of
Okay.
that cool stuff. All that.
We're trying to look at it, like it's back up here, it used to be the courts and the bathroom. That's the initial view of what's there. And
100%.
depending on what that budget is of what additional stuff we can do, or, the awning or the entrance and things of that nature, maybe there's a little money to play with, to do something else, but.
Yeah.
I think we brought up last time the bathrooms. You had mentioned bathrooms was not like a big
They're there.
difference.
I mean, numbers, so I'm not gonna answer that at all. So there's stuff that's needed, which really is that big storage area. The empty closet, it's fairly needed for the area. So there's elements that probably have to be there, but I doubt that's what's costing any room costs to.
Right, yeah.
And then I guess not to fall down a rabbit hole of past celebration, but if it is a bigger project, it's gonna cost more than do we delay it to make sure that we do it nice rather than.
Yeah, well,
do
that's
something
something.
that's a bare
I'm
minimum.
not looking at something that's just there. This doesn't really do it.
But I think we knew that going into the design.
Oh, we did. Yeah,
We have design.
obviously the shelf. It's the same problem we always had, throw a number at something. What is that number based on? So 1.2, well, it's a guess at something. It's arbitrary, completely arbitrary. So now we have real numbers that are based on reality. So now it's better time to analyze it. But we need to understand what the outer limits of that is and
Or we phase
which
it,
items.
right, or we phase it, right, or we.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, then if you phase it, you don't wanna phase it to say, phase just basketball. First.
Oh, no. The court's about building. It's all the other stuff.
Right, like you could put things on the ground that you need to, but don't go burn, right, like you can prepare yourself for a a second phase, it's not gonna.
Well, I guess looking at it, looking at that approach, aren't you doing two negatives to yourself? One is if you do it piecemeal in phases, it's gonna cost you more. And then if you don't do it now until later, inflation will cost more. So that's a double-edged sword of the longer you wait, the more it's gonna cost, the more cases you chop it up.
Fully agree with you.
But then the longer we wait, the more houses are sold.
Let's look
The more
at
money we
analysis.
can-
Yeah, great. So I'm gonna analyze it.
All right, yeah, let's-
All I'm trying to assure you guys.
25, start
Is
talking
we
about
talked about it being more than 1.2. That's it. So
Oh,
I gotta be looking at it, understand what's it.
I don't know, my comment would be, if the cost is gonna be what it is.
Yes, that's correct.
Ideally, people were hoping to be 1.2,
Yeah,
but
it's.
whatever it comes back
Right.
based on what the cost of the thing are, that's what it's gonna be.
Yeah, and again, that number was about, but I can't go. So that's our traditional celebration problem. It's not real numbers, it's real number. Now you got real numbers. So. Just looking at that. Anyway, in my lovely schedule, I will certainly review it because I'm interested in anyway, start looking at JBB. To take a look at. Yeah. Never stop working, so.
Ready to move on?
For other projects.
Maintenance shed update. Anything?
Well, watching that discussion, we're not gonna talk about any numbers.
Right. I don't want to put any numbers out.
So remember, we had two assignments. I'll talk about the easy one first. So Luis is now on board and is the maintenance director. He is doing a great job of putting together a list of kind of mini projects, if you will, and trying to put some more firm ideas around the list of prioritized things that we might do in the current maintenance shed. We don't have numbers there yet, so again, we're gonna kind of work through that. We'll come back to you as we kind of develop those numbers. He develops those numbers. Hopefully in January, we'll have some preliminary things. Okay. We've encountered another sort of stopping point, and again, we're gonna need to, I think, have some discussion on what we do about it. So it turns out, as far as we can tell, and Lauren's on, so she'll jump in if I go wrong here. We actually own all of the property there. So the Duke Energy building is sitting on our property, as far as we can tell. There is no easement document or other formal contract that anybody can find or remember. So now we have some very interesting things that start to happen. So yeah, you're talking greedily, so I'm assuming you're going where my nasty head goes, which is Duke Energy now is in a real big pickle. And by the way, from our perspective, we want this thing firmly solidified as well. More, I would think, because there's legal questions of, what happens if there's a slip and fall, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
So I think what we should probably do and recommend that we put together sort of a list of questions, have Lauren chase those down. There would be things like, okay, let's find out, do we know who actually built those buildings, paid for them? Which really, from a legal point of view, is not too consequential, but it's still good to know. Is there anything that we're missing? Because apparently they tracked down, if I'm correct, Jacob, at the county level, there are no records other than it was quick to us way back, 20 years ago, and it was the complete property.
Probably Osceola County records, isn't
I think that's where they went.
it?
And it came back with just
It's just a deed.
Just at the.
From TCC.
was it
So
more
the TCC originally deeded to CDD. CDD deeded it to CROA in 2002, which is the same year that the two buildings were built. But I cannot locate who actually built the two buildings. I've emailed Russ from CDD because I know he's been there the longest to see if he remembers who built the buildings, but I haven't gotten anything back from him.
Does it actually have a property address? In other words, putting it into the Osceola County.
Yes, we did a full title search. We've looked at the property, Osceola County title or property appraisers website. They all tell us the same thing. We just don't know who built the two buildings right now. And we know we own the full property.
Probably full building permit.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Lauren, we have,
There's secondary search to see what the permits were. Those should show up. They won't have drawings or anything, but
The
Hey,
permits that were pulled
Hey,
may still exist.
So I was gonna ask, we have two structures out there that are on permit. Right, is
Yeah.
that permit purely for our storage shed and the Duke Energy building? Does that exist or not? That's another.
They're pretty stout and not pulled.
hey, hey,
So,
Lauren.
so again, I'd
so-
recommend, just like, Fort Worth got consulted there, let's not try and do this on the fly.
Yeah. No.
Let us come back in January with a presentation that we think probably, again, ultimately has to go to the board. We'll talk about
Right.
the ownership, any permitting, lack of easements, recommendations, because again, at some point, obviously, Duke Energy also has to become involved in this thing, but it should go to the board. in my opinion, before-
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a good approach. Joe here. Am I on mute? No. So I think it's a good approach. I think Lauren, fairly soon, one suggestion we may just want to do. Can you guys hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry, I guess a lot of background noise. At some point, I just think we send Duke a letter telling them they have 12 months to find a new location. That's all. Just send them a note saying 12 months and let them go do the due diligence. Let them go search all the records and come back and prove why they should be able to stay there.
I don't think until we get the official records, Joe, we can send them a letter. I
well,
mean,
once again, I think we need to put a presentation.
Well, the day-
together, Agree
Well,
on, it, take it to the board.
well, you make it way too complicated, but okay, I just say 6 months from now, we're still talking about this. If we can't find any records, I mean, I don't know. But anyway, go spend 3 months. We don't find the records, just tell them they gotta leave. See what they
If we
say.
know,
Well, I guess, Joe, there's two things you gotta be careful here of is, one,
Yeah.
you tell them to leave, all our energy costs are going up because we're all gonna pay for wherever they need to build something new. So we gotta be careful there of. Yeah,
Wait
we
a
don't
minute,
know.
what do you mean?
But
We
then
have to
the other
pay?
side though is, do you do a lease? So that's the two things of either
Yeah,
kick them
if
off
there's no
or you have
lease,
to lease the land from us.
And it also changes the dynamic of what we can do on the land in addition to the repairs we were talking about. So again, I'd recommend.
Yeah,
As I
okay, I
always
got
do.
it, got it, I
Hold
got it,
tight.
I got it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
How you feel?
Wasn't that a big chunk plan that they were on?
Not a very.
No, it's not.
Fairly-
But they don't
What's in
produce,
one-
Angela, I don't know if that was you or not, but they don't produce energy from there, right? That's
So
storage.
Can I just interrupt
Oh,
for just a
energy costs,
second?
Yeah,
I would just say, give us until the January
Thank you.
impact meeting so I can
you.
confer with the attorney again after the
Thank
title
you.
search came back. We'll come back
Perfect.
with more information and a recommendation on how to proceed.
Excellent. Well said, Lauren. Thank you. Let's go to the next topic.
wait, hold on. I would also recommend that if we know the address, the real estate agents have a lot more detail that they can get into. So if we have the address
I mean,
and
it's a
we got with the
little-
real estate,
It's a little shed.
they can get they can get a lot of work.
So I'm gonna
We've
generate some
already
questions
done a
for Lauren.
full paid
Would anyone
title
like to
search
review
on
those
the,
before I send them to her?
Yeah,
Let's move on.
Yeah, all right, so we're moving on. What is their structure? Is it just garage also? That's
It's a block structure, nicer than ours.
but it is a garage.
It's just a, yeah.
Yeah,
All
they
right.
told us they're switching.
And I don't think either has a number to it.
So
Right.
would we, and we'll meet there at midnight with Joe, and we'll storm the building and take over.
Is that building?
Right, it's not.
So I don't know the answer to that. I have a suspicion what we really get to end up with here is probably some form of lease agreement, because again, I don't think we're gonna take the approach of saying, find some artists. But it will open up other possibilities for us to develop the maintenance shed there, or potentially use it as a way to fund another maintenance shed somewhere. Potentially, we should talk about, and again, I hate to do this because now I'm gonna open up another can of worms. Maybe we sell the property to Duke and we relocate, because again, the current facility is not a long-term strategy.
I've looked at tons of
I'm,
plots.
again, I'm gonna interrupt here
Okay,
and I'm gonna
guys, we're
say,
ending this conversation.
we don't have the full information, so let's move on.
Good.
Okay,
Thank you. Next topic, Jim.
okay. Before we talk about park enhancements, I think I'm gonna go to the capital fund review. Just to give you some information. Home sales started slow in November, but mostly after last 2 weeks of month 17
homes in Island Village Phase 2A closed, bringing the total to 31 in the month of November. Year to date, 291 homes have sold at a total value of 229 million, bringing in 1.155 million in capital fees, which if we had stayed with 1 year's dues, we'd be getting in 379,000. So that's a $776,000 difference. There's still another 23 homes and townhomes under contract in Phase 2A that haven't closed yet.
How many? How many?
23 that are under contract. There's another 27 units that are not in contract yet, but a number of those are built. So if somebody wanted them, they could get them pretty quick now. So as you see here, I thought we were going to pay the whole 177 on the multi-purpose courts. See, we have the estimate for the splash pads done by the end of the year at 550. And then the 851, which includes collect and we're paying the diamond of 919,000. The board has approved $274,000 worth of spending in capital this year. And then, as you remember, we had to transfer 354,000 around capital to reserves for previous years' mistakes that were done. So we'll probably finish up a little better than the 3,554 since we're not going to pay that 177,000. But if you go to 2026. So you can see here, if we do start at 3.5 with the spending and we spend the 3 million by the end of June, our number is going to come all the way down to about 1.4 million. That's assuming the board still is going to be approving capital projects outside of what we're doing, which they probably will. But we're also got the capital fee. We're projecting another extra $207,000 next year to get because of Phase 2A finishing and Phase 2B starting. So Phase 2B in Island Village, it's already started. They're building townhomes, they're building homes already. 2 have sold, but that's it. So as you can see, the number can come down, which at that point, you know, we've got decisions between this committee and finance committee as to how long we want the capital plan to fund to go. And if, you know, sales don't really take off or if interest rates don't come down or whatever, and we're not getting in as much of the capital fee, then things are going to keep getting pushed back. So depending on, you know, a lot of that, that's what we're going to have to pay attention to. So I think at minimum, we're always going to need at least $1 million in the capital fund, just in case something does go wrong in the consolidation. And from that standpoint, we can start looking at the courts. We'll get all this information on the maintenance. But as far as park enhancements, I think they're going to be pushed off for a while. That's why I'm going to really give an update. But obviously, what I think we all agree on is that East Lawn and the arts and the amphitheater, bathrooms and buildings are the priority. So those would be the first things we would get bids on. And so sometime mid-year next year, we might want to do that. So a lot depends, but you know, we're still hanging in there.
Did these projections roughly fall where you thought they'd be?
Yeah, I mean, well, Mike disagrees with me because I say we're going to spend $3.9 million on the on 851. That includes collect and diamond. So Mike thinks it's going to be 4.2. So we have this discussion all the time. But yeah, so that, yeah, we got to see on change orders and things like that.
What's our contracted value? Been to?
Well, the guaranteed max price for D'Angelo's diamond is 3.45 million, but that doesn't include any change orders.
Right.
And it doesn't include collects fee. They're matching.
Which we arranged a big
All in, it rolls up to 4.3, isn't it?
Roughly so, yes.
Yeah. All in right now is 4.3.
So we're contracted at 4.3.
Combined contracts, yes.
So do we know how much Click is, we're gonna have to pay them?
We have they're set.
Because we've already paid over 300,000. 336,000, I think.
No, they have more pay-ups as the project continues.
Okay.
I would agree with Mike that you're gonna be at 4.2, 4.3.
I think we already are. Right, we paid some already, the Jim's fund, we paid.
That's
Oh.
yeah.
So you're talking.
Part of it was
billing.
2020.
I was talking billing work, we paid some cash already, so. Yeah, calculate.
Okay, well, I'll adjust it, from that perspective, but, again, that's all gonna get paid by the end of June, right? Yeah.
Yes.
So that's where we could be getting close to $1 million then in the capital plan, so we have to wait and see how we can get that going on.
For timeline, we're closer to the end of April.
But we've got Highland Village, what you said, a number under contract with more to go. And
Yeah.
today's interest rate helps a little bit more, right?
Yeah.
Well, there's just home sales. There's a lot of signs that have been out in front of yards for a while now. Jim, I can't see it from here, but how many homes do you have in there now for next year? How many home sales?
Oh, go to the first to funds.
Existing homes? Well, no, all homes. Yeah.
So for 26, it's based on an average price of 830,375 homes.
375.
And how many did we sell in 2025?
If things fall right, I think we could be at 400 next year.
We're at 299 through November, so we'll be pretty close to that 312 or 320. However, the average price is below now 800,000 because a lot of the townhomes that are being sold in Island Village Phase 2, but that's still above it. There are a ton of condos being sold. And so and a lot are still for sale. So that's brought the average price down to, 790. So. But that's where
How
we're at.
practice of history go? What do we think? What is, when we have 25? We know like the last. COVID a little bit, but what? No, probably not do that. Like what's like 2015 to 2020? Do we know that? Do we know that?
Oh, 20,
Like historical revised was 300. Your foundation, there's always 300, that's the number. That's about, that number's probably been around for 10 years. Yeah. Something like that. Or spiked in 20,000, 30,000, 300. But what we got now is if you use the base of 300, plus we have the Island Village piece of new construction, organic. That's 280 some over a period of 3 years.
252 is phase 2B.
But those keep flipping too. Like there's a lot of homes resale in Island Village phase 1. The market.
There's
The inventory of Island Village in the base now is a term more, probably increase that 300 number.
Yeah.
252 in the new number.
Yeah, but there's like people that move from a townhome to a home, phase 2 or phase 1.
Yeah.
Things like that. But there was 17 homes and townhomes sold in Island Village this year. Ownership.
Yeah, but I think it's realistic to say that the number of home sales will go up. But it is possible that the selling price will come down. So maybe it's a wash across as far as how those conflict each other.
In 2024, 347 homes sold. That included 30 in Island Village, which were at an average price of 1.1 million because they were on the outer sides of it. So as we keep going, 350 is not an unreasonable number as long as interest rates are down.
Mondami's the mayor of New York, so. Some other people from New York are gonna move down, so. But that's where we're at, and I'll keep updating you. These aren't exact numbers, but once I have our finance committee meeting, I'll be able to provide an update of the forecast everybody. So you can see it.
Looking at that, I'd
So,
say Mark,
hey, Jim,
on the Mama Bertha store,
Hey,
it's
Jim.
probably a rush, because that's looking at the Q3, Q4 of next year anyways.
Yeah,
So
that's probably.
we don't have a rush based on where money's gonna be for us.
Well, that's probably how it'll play out. I wouldn't expect that to start till we're done with the 51 period. Just so that that's known. So to me, it was a
Yeah.
26 issue regardless.
Hey, Jim, I'd like to thank you very much for all the work you do and for doing this sheet. Very, very helpful. I mean, it will change month to month. You know, it sounds like, right, we got uncertainty on home sales, what I heard. You know, we may have upward exposure a little bit on 851. You'll sort that out. We'll probably have upward exposure on the sports courts. That's me projecting. You know we have flexibility with the enhancements, parks enhancements. So this will just be an ongoing, pushing the levers. But every month will allow us to at least understand where we are and what we need to do. So thank you very much.
No, my pleasure.
Town hall wasn't first in the list, pulling all the money.
Well,
But it's needed.
yeah,
Definitely needed. Yeah.
it done some
About
maintenance on
5
it.
years, yeah.
Would have been a lot better to have them. So. All right, any other comments? All right,
Now, when the turf field comes, that's not the price. And against. But where they used to be maybe 400 half million, now they're 600,000. It's one for what? Full size. Turning the East Village field back into a turf field. They're turning it into one. Like 600-800.
I'd say that seems pretty cheap compared to the 1.5 that was back at City Quarter, changing those grass fields to. That's true.
Yeah, it's 800 for a nice one for full football rig. It's always a lot of really nice cross field and got 600 plus. So anyway, it's out there, but that number is if we want to ever speak about it to that, which that's what happens with the school there.
Which segue from the school, did you have any update on baseball and anything to share?
I Lauren and Charles on that last week. So last week. Lauren was gonna walk with new Luis. But I owe Lauren a scope of work as we look at what are the responsibilities of each entity going to be, so that we're very prescriptive of this is what CROA would do, this is what the school is still responsible for, this is what potentially any other entities, Little League would be responsible for. We did get some feedback verbally from the school district that as we look at that whole space, could we open up the track in that space in that field back there as well? Because there was some hesitation and resistance because would we damage the track or something like that? It's an asphalt track, so it's not gonna, it's not gonna get that much wear, but that's open as well. So I owe Lauren a scope of work of who owns what and the maintenance requirements. But we're gonna look at that whole right at the front and the track and the grass area there too. And of course the basketball courts. Basketball courts too. Right. We would look for it to be open, right? So then you just increase the number of basketball courts the town has accessible to them by 4, right? And you get a track, which I know a ton of people love, just get out there wanting. So we got that. Collections.
Which is that gonna be more of just outside school hours? That.
Yeah, of course, yeah. But you get it all weekend.
Right. Yeah, that would be different. And then if school's out by say 5 or 6, then can you go there from 6 to 10 at night?
It depends on if there's you know, because they still use that for soccer, right, and track in that area. So I think portions of, yes, but if there's a school activity going on, we're not gonna offer that to
Right.
the public.
Yeah, so I guess that's the understanding of, yeah, they can understand the maintenance part, but is it really only getting Saturday and Sunday usage out of it, or is there a weeknight usage though?
My opinion was there's still weekends, you're still gonna get weeknights. There's gonna be probably some off limits that it says the school.
Yeah,
Right.
multicultural night or whatever.
Yeah.
They own the school, they need that, so.
Yeah.
Things will be fun.
But I think for the most part, I mean, we're out there playing baseball 5 days a week, so 6 days a week. And, you know, only a handful of nights it's during season, because there's soccer game or like all game or something. So, no, I think it's more often than not, it would be available after hours.
It's practice space for sport period out there,
Yeah.
in addition to the life that it's still.
Yeah. So I hope to have that, done at this. Mark and I don't share offices, but we share hours.
Yes, we do. Available at 2 o'clock in the morning.
But for one of the things, and I don't know if I translated so much on the phone last time, but as we think about what that might look like year one, right, we're gonna be in an off budget cycle, so Lauren was gonna try to understand what the cost might be. Once we get our scope of work, what would it cost be to maintain that, right, cutting it and some other things? And then is the capital fund an opportunity to take care of it off budget cycle? To carry us to another budget season. So if it's $150,000 to maintain it, it'll be prorated because it won't be a full year. You know, is that something that we're open? I think we talked that a little bit. We said, yeah, you know, for phase one of what this might look like, we consider that. Once we understand the cost,
There is a baseline that, you know, getting sand in there properly for base running, repainting that fence would be awfully nice, the entire surround, so it's like,
yeah,
it's all good on, so there may be a baseline of getting it in the condition to maintain it.
we've got a maintenance day this Saturday, right, for Little League, so we're gonna take care of a couple things. But that's gotta play into it too, because Little League invests money into those fields that should be, you know, something to consider. We're not gonna stop doing that, but how does that play into the negotiation?
Judging typically, it shouldn't fall all on baseball, if the outfield is being used by football or something else, there should be some cooperation. But if others need to fundraise to put some money together to do something like that, that's where the maintenance costs are coming from, not entirely on the revenue.
Maybe, I mean, I think that you could say that about soccer doesn't pay for maintenance on soccer fields.
That's true, that contract,
Right.
for what you.
So I think it's open to it's an amenity in town that I don't know that you burden the group using it, other than whatever the agreement is on the partner program or rent fees, or you know what I mean?
Depends if it truly is open to the resident, or if it's like the tennis courts that are always jammed up by
Yeah.
the parking program, so.
Yeah.
Depends on what situation it is there.
No, we talked last time, and this is, you know, a little ways away, but still, you know, a goal is how do we develop that corner? If that's an opportunity to make that a baseball park, right? Because the field capacity that we have is not enough for what we're growing to, from a baseball program perspective. So, and I think we're the only nonprofit sports league in town. So it's an offering. We continue to grow. Softball is starting to get a ton of legs. You know, so we've had that increased numbers with the girls softball program too. So more to come.
All right, anything else? Make a motion to end the meeting?
Yeah, hey,
All
just
in
one
favor?
comment. Hey, one comment, just for clarity, starting next month, we'll be back to the third Wednesday of the month for our meetings. Because I know some of us got confused this month and last month. So thank you, everybody. Sorry that I was between babies and other distractions on my side. Anyway, I second the motion to close.
All right, all in favor?
Uh,